Today we will discuss about the uh, different C programmings and quick refresh on the C programmings. It's obviously almost like all our questions over here. If anyone else having questions, please add it to it. The first one: what is a header file? Why we need that? Yeah. Any answers? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Hari. Yeah, we're able to hear you.
Yeah, basically something like a header file is one. Yeah, if I am providing some information, please add with that. Yeah, it's something kind of uh, it's something like a open talks. I wish to I wish everyone to share their information, add their valuable inputs to this, so that everybody will be shared with their benefited basically. Uh, yeah, yeah. Basically, what is a header file? Header file will have that information about something like any structure definitions or something. Uh, it has the function prototypes and which we are going to use that in our application. For example, uh, we wanted to use something like a string comparison functions like string uh, string length, string compare, and string case compare, string n case compare, string n compare. All those function declarations are present in the header file that we can use in our application uh, to develop that uh, string library in our application. Yes. Whenever we are creating a new library, we need to create the header file so that that particular header file will be uh, can be added into our program and it can be used to compile with that the respective library. Yeah. And we can open. Then uh, then we have something like every header file will have something like if and def and define, and the end of the file there will be a endif. uh, what is the need for that? Yeah, is something like if suppose uh, it it is to give the flexibility to the developer so that you can include that, yeah, single header file multiple times as well in your program, but it will that particular header file content will be included only once. To make that, we are providing something like a if in def, which is something like whether that particular definition is already defined or not. If it is not defined, then we will go inside and define that particular definition so that it will be get defined only once. Once it got defined, the next time you include the same header file in your main.c or a.c, that particular header file content will not be get added multiple times, so that multiple definitions error or multiple declaration errors, those things will be avoided over here. Yeah. And next we have a static function. Uh, what is static function in the C programming? Yeah. Uh, Anyone please share that information about the static functions? Help. Maybe, yeah. Yeah. No updates? Hello? Hello? Could you please come forward to share your information? Hello? Hello all? What is the static function? Hello?
It's something like a class level function. We can no need to create an instance.
It's not like that. Yeah, for example, that we can create a, for example, we can create a dot C, and maybe we can create an new item. Maybe another one, b.c. We have 3 files in our system. For example, I'm going to add something like a integer, um, maybe function test over here with void, and it returns 0 over here. And the same, I'm going to add this, the same function. I'm going to add this in the b.c. Now, if suppose I am building, when we build this, yeah, that the particular function has been already defined in a.object, because both have a.c has the function and b.c has the same function. For example, if suppose we use static on static, I used the static function, and if suppose I am building, it got built successfully. For example, I'm going to return 10 in over here, and uh, and void print a and void function. I'm going to get that integer return equals function of, sorry, function underscore test over here, and then printing printf %d comma a, sorry, %d comma return over here. And In the b.c, I'm going to use the same function, print b, and returning over here. And in main.c, maybe we can call print underscore a, print underscore b, and maybe we can add this prototype in the main.c. Now I'm going to compile this solution. Here I need to add stdio.h over here the same way. Morning. Yes. It got built. Maybe we can run this. We will get that. I'm going to run. For debugging. Okay, we got the print over here. Maybe I'm going to add /n on both. Build sample. Yeah, now we got the output print a function is called, print b function is called, and which internally calls function test, and print a prints 10 and print b returns 10. For example, that this function test scope of this, if we define that static function, the scope of that function will be within this file only. We cannot able to access that particular function in another file. Basically, that basically static function is the scope limited to that particular file that cannot be accessed outside of that file. Basically, over here. Yeah. For example, if suppose I just commented the function here, and maybe whether we can confirm whether this one, the function test defined over here, get links to, or not. That we can check something like it was not defined. It's unresolved symbol. There is no resolved present, because this b.c contain a static function, static function, which is the scope limited to that particular file only. We cannot access that particular file function out of that file, basically over here. because of that, and whatever be the functions defined as a static, that it can be called within that file only. It cannot be called out of the file. Yeah, yeah. Is it fine? Hello.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And we have that the what is meant by local static and global static variables. For example, that we can define a static variable. If suppose we define the static variable here, static integer a, this is an global static variable, and this variable can be accessed throughout this file. And local static variable is something like defining, yeah, variable inside this, inside a function is called local static variable. If suppose we have the two variables with having the both an same name like a global static and a local static, whenever we access within this function, we will have that information. The variable content will be local static over here. This will not be get accessed over here. This static integer a global static and this static integer a local static will have the two different memory location, and whenever we are accessing within this function, this particular variable location will be accessed. And if suppose we are accessing rest of the areas of the file, this particular global static variable will be accessed basically. Yeah. And now we have what are all the different format specifiers for printf and scanf that we can see over here. And for example, the different format specifiers, something like we can say, for example, I'm going to do define multiple things over here. Print we have unsigned character. Character is %C, and unsigned character is %U, I think. Yeah, unsigned. Yeah, then we have short. Then we have unsigned short. Then we have integer, unsigned integer, and then float, and then we have double, and then we have long, and then unsigned long over here, etc. For example, that for example, all the integers we can directly use %d, but with respect to specified one, we have to use that exact specifier that we can use it. For example, we have for the integer we know the %d, and we have the unsigned integer that is %u, and we have the float which is %f, and we have the double which is also a %f, and we have the long which is something like a %l is the long, and unsigned long will be something like a UL is the unsigned long that we can able to use that in the parameters, and the and for the short, and for the short we can use the percentage D, and we have the unsigned short, we can use percentage H over here. And for example, apart from this, if suppose we wanted to print in the hex format, then we can use percentage X, and suppose octal, we can use percentage O, and then binary format that we can, if suppose we wanted to print on the binary format, that we can use for the binary we can use percentage B over here, and if suppose we wanted to print a pointer, we can use something like a percentage P that we can use for the format specifier basically over here. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Hello.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. It's something like I hope you. What is the pointer? Any idea?
It stores the address of the variable in general.
Yeah, it stores the address of the variable, and basically it's a variable to point that particular variable basically. For example, points the address of the variable. It will have that address which points to that particular variable, which is an pointer basically. What is the dangling pointer? A dangling pointer, for example, that the memory can be allocated dynamically in our program using a malloc. For example, that if suppose we we have allocated a memory and freed that particular memory, and then if the value is present in that variable, which will cause the dangling pointer. For example, over here, I'm going to use maybe integer star ptr, and I'm going to declare ptr equal to malloc of something. We can define malloc of 10 bytes over here, and I'm going to free of this ptr. And if suppose we are using this pointer to access, to write something, this is called dangling pointer. We allocated pointer is allocated over here, and then we freed that pointer, and then we are trying to again access that which is removed or freed pointer is the dangling pointer. For example, we have allocated a pointer with the space, and we have freed that pointer of the space, and then after that we are, if we try to access that particular, if we have that information to access, that is the dangling pointer. For example, this here we don't have the memory to access, but we are trying to access over here. This is a dangling pointer. We should avoid this kind of a dangling pointer in our implementation, basically program development. Yeah. And for pointer, any idea about for pointer? Okay. For pointer is the one which is an 32, which is an complete memory address space pointer, which can able to access that complete memory of that system. This is called for pointer over here. And then memory leak. What is meant by memory leak? For example, we are allocating a memory, and if suppose we does not freed after the memory usage is after the memory usage is complete, which creates or example something like we are not reusing the same memory, and we are recreating something like that over here. Integer function. Integer star ptr equal to malloc of some 100 over here. Once it is done, that we need to free that particular pointer. If suppose we did not free that pointer, and without freeing, we are continuously calling that function, this will continuously add that particular memory, and it creates a leak that we did not clear that free that particular memory, so that memory leak will happen in our program, basically over here. Why it should be avoided? It's something like if suppose we are keep on adding the memory, we will get into the stage of memory crunch, that it should be avoided, basically. And what is called by value and what is called by reference? Any idea on that? Hello?
Call by value is where you'll be passing a copy of that value.
Okay.
Reference is just an address. Instead of value, you'll be passing an address.
Yes, yes, yeah. In the call by value, we will pass the value only if suppose any changes in that particular function, that will not affect the main content. If suppose we are passing the reference and in reference any changes occurred, that will be get reflected. For example, integer value of integer a comma integer b over here, and maybe integer reference integer star a comma integer star b over here, and I'm going to declare integer a equals 10 and integer b equals 20 over here. And for example, I'm going to do star b equals star a, and here we can do a equals b over here. Whenever I'm calling this, before calling I'm printing that, I will clear the rest of the things. Before calling, value a comma b over here, and printf a colon %d b colon %d, and then comma a comma b over here. Once it is done, I'm going to print again over here, and reference of ampersand a comma ampersand b. This is called by value, and this one is called by reference over here. And whenever we are running this, yeah, I'm going to do void array for reference void build sample. It got compiled. Whenever we do debugging, sorry, this should be D. Yeah. %d or without debugging. Yeah. Now we have something like first the value is printed, print a comma b. In the call by value, after the call by value, there is no change. A is 10 and A is 20. And after the call by reference, the content of B has been updated with the content of A, so that B also becomes 10. So that whenever we are passing the arguments called by value, whatever we do the changes inside that function, there will not be any, it will be something like a copy of that particular variable, so that there will not be any changes for the variable which is called from here. And in case of call by reference, we are passing the memory to that particular function. If suppose there is a change in changes happened in the memory using that inside the function, that will be get reflected on the caller function basically over here. Yeah. And yeah, then we have recursion. Recursion, that's something we can have something like the recursion is continuously calling the same function in order to uh, achieve that is called recursion. For example, the function A calls function A again, function B. Continuously it will call until it reaches some kind of a loop it reaches, it continuously call its function by itself is called recursion basically. And what is pointer to pointer in a C programming? It's something like we can have something like a uh, pointer to pointer. For example, integer star ptr is star a. It's something like ptr is the uh, pointer contains the address location of A. For example, we have integer star star ptr1, which contains address of ptr, which is an pointer to pointer. It's something like this contains a pointer, and uh, this is the pointer, and that particular pointer contains another address that we can able to get it. For example, if suppose we wanted to access, maybe we can do printf a colon equals percentage d percentage d percentage d over here, and I'm going to print a and star ptr and then star star ptr1. Yeah, it's something like all three are printed like 10. It's something like A is the direct value, and PTR is a pointer which contains address of the A, and we are accessing the content of this pointer, which is an A basically, and we are accessing the PTR1 is the address of pointer PTR, and we are accessing the content the first star, which will provide the pointer, integer pointer, and then that pointer's content will be a, so that we get 10 as the value over here. Yes. Which is an pointer to pointer in a C programming. Yeah. And we have an different methods, something like static and dynamic memory allocation. Static allocation can be done with the help of something like defining an array is a static allocation. For example, uh, integer array of 100 is the static allocation method, and in case of In case of dynamic allocation, maybe then we can do something like the pointer equals malloc of something the size of integer into 400 over here, which provides some into 100, which provides something like a 100 integer variables allocated over here. And the difference between calloc and malloc here. Any ideas on this? Difference between the calloc and malloc? Any ideas? What is the calloc function? What is an malloc function? Hello. Basically, that calloc is used to allocate blocks of bytes, and malloc is used for allocate the block bytes basically. For example, here we will be having some kind of a argument. Over here, malloc will have only one argument. For example, here we will be having the calloc pointer. Calloc will have two different we'll have two different arguments, something like a number and then size. For example, we can give the in order to allocate the same, we can give 100 is the number. Each element size can be like an integer, which provides something like a which allocates the same functions which allocates the same similar to malloc, but the thing is we can able to use something like a kind of a number of elements and each element size that we can able to configure. And the thing is whatever be the memory allocated by malloc, it is not initialized, but the thing is if suppose we are allocating with the calloc, and it's basically initialized to the all the members, all the elements in allocated, which will be initialized to 0 basically over here. And since that malloc does not it has malloc does the memory allocation something like these many bytes to be allocated, that will give something like a faster memory allocation. And in case of calloc, that will allocate that with respect to the blocks, and also it initializes to the 0, that the memory allocation will be little slower comparatively comparing with the malloc. In case of malloc, whatever be the pointer we have allocated, that should be cleared or initialized by the developer. It will not be cleared to 0 over here, but in case of calloc, that will be clear to 0. Yeah. And we have the different storage specifier, something like a static that we have seen, the static function and static variable, local static, and a global static. And then we have an extern is the command that can be used to extend that. For example, you have the global variable. I have the global variable integer global over here, and I wish to access the same into b.c. Then I have to use extern integer global, so that whenever we are accessing the particular basically the extern integer global, which does not allocate the variable again, does not create or does not allocate some memory again, it just get linked with that already allocated the variable present in the program. And we have the keyword like a register. If suppose we wanted to, for example, that we can create something like a register integer reg. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, whenever we do this register integer reg, then it means that whenever that particular variable that will be allocated in the CPU CPU system register itself, so that it will be fast in terms of the usage. That if suppose all the CPU registers are get allocated with multiple register variables, then it will start use that the external memory location basically. Yeah, is it fine? Hello.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. What is bit field? Bit field in C programming. Uh, any idea about the bit field? For example, we have that the structure define struct bit field over here, and I'm going to do unsigned reg A is 6 bits and unsigned reg B equal to 5 bits. Yeah. For example, if suppose 32-bit integer can be divided into the different bit levels that we can able to manipulate with the bit fields over here, similar to providing something like unsigned register 6 means the register A is contains 6 bits of information, and register B contains 5 bits of information, and total size will be a single 32 bit, so that it will be like a 4 byte of space basically over here. This will be used, for example, in case of we have the registers defined, each and every bit will be used for different one. For example, the port A is used on the over here, and for example we have enable port A over here 1 bit, and enable port B is another bit. Like that, maybe we can define and we can link this bit field to the respective registers accordingly over here. Yeah. And we have sprintf over here. Sprintf, any idea about the sprintf? Why we need sprintf? Hello. Yeah. Uh, Actually, sprintf is basically used for printing on a buffer or a or something like printing on the string basically over here. For example, we wanted to create a string of buffers that we can able to do with the help of over here. I'm going to do character str of 100. Then maybe we can use the same thing like sprintf, and I have that str, and then maybe we can have this whatever be the print value over here, that will be converted like a string inside that str that we can use uh, for any formatting or sending out the data outside over the serial port. Those kind of scenarios we will use sprintf over here. Yeah. And what is post increment and pre increment? Yeah. A variable can be incremented post. For example, if we do a plus plus, which is an post increment, plus plus a, which is an pre increment. For example, if suppose we are getting x, integer x, then for example the post increment, the value will be copied to x. For example, 10 is the value that will be get copied to x, and then it will be get incremented to 1 by 1 to 11 basically. Here it is an pre increment, which means something like it get incremented, and then it will be get copied into that variable basically over here. Basically that post increment is after that content is accessed, the increment will happen. Pre increment is increment will happen, after that content access will occur. This is a difference between the post increment and pre increment. The similar way we can use some kind of a pre decrement, sorry, post decrement and pre decrement as well, that we can use in our C programming. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here we have, yeah, we already gone through the static and dynamic memory allocation, and we have the structure. Uh, the structure in the sense something like it can be a group with the multiple different data types. For example, uh, structure employee will have something like a character name of 64, and then integer age, and then integer experience, and then float salary. Like that we can create multiple data types for which is associated to the single person or anything that can be grouped with the help of a structure basically. Yeah. Yeah. Then we have the union. Yeah. The union is the one we can have it in the same way. Yeah, we can define the structure and union similar way to this, and structure will have each and every elements are active. Here we will have that either one of the element is active over here. For example, that memory allocated in the union is equals to the maximum size of any particular which is biggest element of element size basically. For example, here we have name 64 bit 64 byte array. This is the maximum element over here, that the union size will be the total memory size will be 64 over here. In case of structure, here we will be having 0 to 63, and then we have 64 to 67, and here we have 67 to 71, and here we have 72 to 75. Totally 76 bytes will be used over here. In case of a union, only the 64 bytes will be used over here. Yeah, the maximum of 64. The it basically provides that the maximum number of the size of the maximum element is. And in case of command line arguments, that we can use something like integer argc and argv. Argc will provide something kind of a number of argument count, and in case of argv provides something like the values of the arguments. Yeah, that maybe we can see. Yeah. For example, that we can run whatever be the first the application that we are running will becomes like a argument argv of 0, and whatever be the argument we are giving after that, that will comes like a argv of 1 and argv of 2, argv of 3, like that it will go. Yeah, is it fine? Here we have the typecasting. Typecasting is something like converting a one data type into another is called typecasting. What is a null pointer? Null pointer is the one which is an empty pointer, and which does not have which has the 0 value, and that particular address cannot be accessed by anything. If suppose in case of any errors, that in the memory allocation, that will return a null pointer, so that will we cannot able to the memory allocation is failed. To denote that memory allocation is failed, that we will use the null pointer basically over here. And we have to check whenever before accessing it any pointer, that we can or after initialization of that particular pointer, we need to confirm that whether it is a null pointer or not. Yes. And the basically the null pointer is used to validate whether it is a valid pointer or not. And in case of void pointer is the one which, For example, malloc returns a void pointer that can be assigned to any pointer like an integer pointer or a character pointer or um, any unsigned character pointer like that. We can able to assign that the void pointer can be assigned to any other pointer without any typecasting. That gives the flexibility so that it basically get assigned with respect to the void pointer basically. Okay. And we have an undef. Undef is the one which provides something like a whatever we are defining. It can be, the definition can be removed with the help of undef, so that the preprocessor removes that definition, and it will be it will not goes into that if def unless it is declared again. Yeah. Okay. Hello? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And we have a memory layout in C programming. For example, we have different sections, something like a data section and a code section, and we have an dynamic memory allocation section, and we have the stack sections basically over here. That is a memory layout. Whatever be the code which we have, that will be executed in the text area. That is a code section will be running in the text section, and the variables, whatever be the variables we are allocating, the global variables are provided in the two different data types, something like a initialized global variable area and uninitialized global variable area, like that. It will be get defined, the layout will be defined, and the stack will be used to handle the function calls as well as the uh, local variables usage in the program. And similar way, the heap memory will be used for handling the memory dynamic memory allocation inside that in the C programming basically. And whenever we do memory malloc or cloc, the memory will be get allocated from the heap space of the program, and it will be get returned accordingly. Whenever we do the function calls, whenever we are calling the function and we are uh, having that local variables, that the stack will be get incremented according to the local variables, and it will get called, the call will go to that particular the respective functions accordingly. Yeah. And the valid places for break and continue. Uh, any idea where we can use break and where we can use continue? Basically,
Break can be used in a where logic can be broken and come, a particular a loop can be broken and come to the main workflow.
yeah, it's basically break is to completely exit out of the loop, and continue can be used to exit that current iteration and go to the next iteration basically. Yeah. Break, for example, if suppose we done with that and we wanted to exit from that particular loop, we can use the break keyword. And if suppose we are not sure to continue this particular iteration to be succeeded, and if so, in that case we wanted to I think it's something like we are done with that, current iteration and we wanted to move forward with the next iteration, we can use the continue command so that the control will go for next iteration and increments and checks that whether that the looping conditional statement gets through to execute further or not. And it's something like we have the type definitions that can be used so that the type definition, main advantage of type definition, that we can have something like kind of for example, we have that the type definition uint 32 underscore t and uint 16 underscore t, kind of a type definition. This type definition provides something like a, for example, if we define an unsigned integer in a microcontroller, it will create 2 bytes of memory, and in case of the 32-bit processor, it will allocate 4 bytes of memory. Like that, it will get varied. There will be a variations will be present in order to overcome and use that generic definition. We can use the type def, and the type def can be used in the programming, and the particular type def can be changed according to the different architecture so that it will work as expected in all the platforms. Yeah. Then we have the option something like enumerations. Enumeration is the option that we can use to define that different state machines or anything. For example, we can define something like a enum state ideal, which is an 0. Obviously, it will start from 0. State running. Like that, we can define something like similar to integer, but we can define the name in the sequence of order that we can able to give it with the help of enumerator, basically. Is it fine?
Yes.
Yeah. Next, we have a function prototype. For example, declaring a function prototype is needed whenever it provides something like what is the, for example, here void print A, print B. This is a function prototype which provides something like its prototype something provides something like what is the argument it will return and what are all the argument it will accept. That provides declaration of the function, how it will look like, something like the arguments to that function and return a parameter of that function that we are declaring is a prototype in our before that particular function we are going to access. Because of that, once we did, the compiler will know will have the clear idea about the return variables and arguments of that particular function, so that it will create something like the compilation and linking without any warnings or errors, basically. Yeah. If suppose when and where it should be declared, if suppose we are developing a library and providing that particular API or function for another developer, then we need to create it properly, and we have to provide that the function prototype we have to declare in the header file, and it has to be provided in a clear format so that the another developer can able to use it accordingly. Yeah. Yeah. This provides some quick refresh, and yeah.
Thank
Any
you.
yes, any questions and doubts on this? Yeah, if it is any questions and doubts, please feel free to share in the our group so that we can discuss further. Thanks for attending, and I thought to have something like I want your inputs in order to make something like more interactive and interactive talks. How can we plan that in our groups?